Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. This is a community where curious seekers gather to explore spiritual, ethical, and social issues in an accepting and nurturing environment. Unitarian Universalism supports the freedom of conscience of each individual, as together we seek to be a force for good in the world. My name is Elizabeth Barrett. On behalf of the congregation, I would like to extend a special welcome to visitors. We are a welcoming congregation. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your life's journey, we celebrate your presence among us. We gather here to seek the truth, to grow in love, to join in service, to celebrate life's beauty and find healing for its pain, to listen for the wisdom that guides us in the quietness of this moment. I invite you to join me now in a few moments of silence for contemplation, prayer, or meditation as we settle in and come fully into this time and place together. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
And remaining standing for our opening words taken from the poetry of Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. May we join our voices together as we spark our flame. The words for our chalice lighted are printed in our order of service, as together we say, "We light this chalice to remember that every vision wants to grow. It has its own heat, its own hunger. It arrives wanting more and wanting us to become more. It has us. We don't have it. We are continually drawn forward by its pull. Maybe they lure us toward its larger call." I invite you to turn toward each other and offer a greeting this morning. Good morning. It's good to have you here today. Hi there, Susie. Marge, good to see you. He wandered off.
Welcome.
Thank you. Really good to be here. Very good to be here. Good morning.
I invite anyone who would like to come up closer for our message to come on up to the carpet. Come on up. Hi.
It's a contemplative bunch today.
Hi, come on up. Hi. Hey, Elliot. Hi, sweetie. Oh, cool socks. You got the best socks. Hi, Elliot. Hey, come on up. How's everybody doing today? Good? Have you guys met Doug?
I'm Doug.
This is Doug. Doug, everybody, Doug.
Hello, everybody. Good to meet you all.
I'm kind of noticing that Doug has something with him that we don't usually bring into service with us. Does anybody else see that? What? A backpack. Hey, Doug.
I do have a backpack.
Why do you have a backpack?
Well, okay. You know, Kelly, that I've moved recently. I just moved at the beginning of August here, and then I move every 2 years, at least for the last few years. So I have a lot of stuff that I need to take from one place to another, and so I've been doing that for several weeks now. So here's today's stuff.
Are you going to show us what stuff you brought?
Oh, I bet I will, yes.
Yay! What do you think? Do you want to see what's in his backpack? Yeah, me too.
I want to see what's in my backpack. It could be exciting. So the thing is, as you probably have noticed, Kelly, you know, my office has plenty of stuff in it now.
It does.
The thing is, I brought some things today, a few things that I carefully have chosen because they remind me of bigger, more important things that I want to remember as I start working with you, because there's a lot to keep up with. So these are a few kind of, I would call them symbolic reminders, such as I always travel with a little book of photos. And those photos remind me of things in the past, like it reminds me of some of the congregations that I've served, like the Ann Arbor congregation that I just moved here from. And we worked together as a staff to sort of think about some new patterns of how to share leadership. And then there was the Bloomington congregation, where I got to work with, among other things, the amazing Mary Ann Macklin, yay. And we worked on religious education and helped the congregation think about what children's religious education should be about. And so it was really very fulfilling. But I go back even further, like to the congregation in Bellingham, and I was there for 13 years. And in those 13 years, so much change happened, and I learned so much. And so that was really powerful. But it isn't only about the congregations, it's also about my past as well. And so I think about when I was a teenager, for instance, and all the things that I learned during that time, like how to feather my hair the way I did. That was very hard to do. But the teenage years taught me a lot that I still bring into my ministry. But I go back even further to when I was even younger than that, and my hairline was very similar to how it was today. And all of that reminds me that throughout my life, there have been people for me to love and that love me. There are things for me to learn. And so it's good for me to remember that as I come into a new place. But there's more. There's a lot of things to do. So I have a few things that remind me of what I want to try to remember, such as I have with me this little tiny compass. And there's a bigger picture. This was made by someone in Bellingham, Washington, who is a woodworker as I got ready to leave, which was such a sweet gift. But it reminds me of my work with every congregation. The thing is, why the compass is so important is it gives you a sense of direction, but it's not like a map. It doesn't tell you exactly how to get there. It just tells you if you're going north, south, east, or west. In many ways, that's closer to my job. If I tried to tell you exactly what to do, chances are you would not listen to me anyway. So what I'm here to do is help you think about the big direction. What are the important things that will help guide you into your future? The compass is an important way for me to keep up with that. And let's see, what else do I have? Oh, this is an important one. I have with me here a mirror. And the mirror reminds me that every congregation has stuff that they do all the time that they're not even aware that they're doing, or that they're saying things. And a lot of what my job is about is to reflect back to them, this is what you do all the time, or this is what you have said to me. Is this really what you mean? Is this what you want to do? And it's up to the congregation to decide if that is exactly who they are and what they want to do. And so I'm sort of a mirror for the congregation, where I, as a newbie, get to say, this is some of what I've seen. Tell me what you think of that. But there's another thing that always happens that's a little interesting and scary. And so I brought with me my little lantern here, and it's really bright. Oh my goodness, wow. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. The thing is that there are also things in the congregation that people are somewhat unaware of, or there are stories from the past that are painful or make people unhappy, and sometimes they want to not talk about those things. So part of my job is to be a sort of a lantern to shine the light into murky places for us to look at things and bring them out to talk about them. Because often if we look at them and talk about them, then some of the things that are hurtful may be able to heal. And so I try to act some of the time as a lantern in my work with the congregation. But as I told you, I also travel sometimes a very long way. When I moved from Ann Arbor, it only took a day. But when I traveled from Washington State, which is all the way on the other side of the United States, that took like 5 days. And in the middle of that travel, I was in the middle of the United States. I'd never been there before. It was scary to be by myself in my car and be in a place with people I didn't know and places I didn't know. So I needed some things that reminded me of things that really helped comfort me. And so I always travel with our hymnals. And when I was in the middle of driving through long cornfields in the middle of nowhere, I would sing songs from the hymnal that I remember that comforted me. And there was one that I sang over and over again for many thousands of miles that I thought, because it's something that the congregation here also sometimes sings, that it would be a lovely thing for us to end this time. It is number 1031, filled with loving kindness. And it is a sort of blessing. And a blessing is a way that we think about the people that we love, and sometimes the people we don't even know, and the earth itself and everything, and we offer a spirit of friendliness and love to it. which sounds like a perfect thing to do as we send everyone out to their classes to explore new stuff.
Fantastic. Thank you, Doug.
You're very welcome.
We're going to rise in body or spirit and sing that hymn while you all leave for classes. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you more.
We will sing 3 times. The first time, may I be filled. The second time, may you be filled. And the third time, may we be filled. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
You may be seated. A reading in preparation for the reflection taken from the writing of Victoria Safford, Set in Stone. In a cemetery once, an old one in New England, I found a strangely soothing epitaph. The name of the deceased and her dates had been scoured away by wind and rain, but there was a carving of a tree with roots and branches, a classic 19th century motif. And among them the words, "She attended well and faithfully to a few worthy things." At first, this seemed to me a little meager, a little stingy on the part of her survivors. But I wrote it down, and I have thought about it since, and now I can't imagine a more proud or satisfying legacy. She attended well and faithfully to a few worthy things. Every day, I stand in danger of being struck by lightning and having the obituary in the local paper say, for all the world to see, "She attended frantically and ineffectually to a great many unimportant and meaningless details." How do you want your obituary to read? He got all the dishes washed and dried before playing with his children in the evening. She balanced her checkbook with meticulous precision and never missed a day of work. Missed a lot of sunsets, missed a lot of love, missed a lot of risk, missed a lot, but her money was in order. Or she answered all her calls, all her email, all her voicemail, but along the way, she forgot to answer the call to service and compassion and forgiveness, most of all for herself. Or he gave and forgave sparingly, without radical intention, without passion or conviction. Or she could not would not hear the calling of her heart? How will it read? How does it read? And if you had to name a few worthy things to which you attend, faithfully and well, what, I wonder, would they be? Here ends the reading. When I was 8 years old, I concocted this kooky scheme that required my mother's assistance. In order to fulfill my desire, I had to cross this giant abyss that we called the truck route. That was way too dangerous and busy a highway for an 8-year-old to cross by himself. But the reason I wanted to cross it was so that I could attend vacation Bible school at a Southern Baptist church. I had never attended church before. Why I decided that would be a good thing for me to do at 8 years old was a bit of a mystery. I imagined somehow childhood summer boredom had something to do with it. But there could have been a lot of ways that I could have tried to work that out besides going to church. And come to think of it, it was probably an interesting request on my mom's part. She was not attending that congregation, and so I'm sure she had to think carefully before she let me go. And I imagine probably having a bored 8-year-old had something to do with why she decided to take me there. But she saw me to the edge of the river Styx and then sent me across to the Vacation Bible School. And I wish that I could say my time there went better. It seemed like every single time I stepped foot in that door, I got in trouble. Now, the thing is, I would never claim that I am the most well-behaved adult, much less 8-year-old. But the reason I kept getting in trouble there was that I kept asking questions. I was just so curious about the strange things that they were telling me. I would say like the 8-year-old equivalent of, so tell me again about this rapture thing. What happens and where is that in the Bible? And it sounds like science fiction to me. And, you know, the Sunday school teachers were not thrilled with my questions. And I stuck it out for quite a long time thinking, we'll just work this out over time. But we didn't. But I didn't give up on religion, and in some way, religion seemingly did not give up on me either. So I tried other congregations. I went with friends to a sort of mid-70s version of a mega church, which was this giant charismatic gathering. So there were like 1,000 people on their feet speaking in tongues, which in and of itself freaked me out. But I looked over and there was my math teacher speaking in tongues, which is an image I cannot unsee. It haunts me to this day. So that didn't work out very well either. And imagine what a wonderful relief it was to finally discover a congregation where not only could I ask questions, but questions were encouraged. And that sounds like a Unitarian Universalist congregation, doesn't it? But it actually was a liberal Christian Church Disciples of Christ congregation. And in particular, the careful attention of a Sunday school teacher named Tana Gartside, who was an amazing, award-winning teacher. She would become my 9th grade social studies teacher. She knew her calling in life, and she lived it out every day and in such a powerful way. She created this space that welcomed curiosity and helped us feel like we had enough inner knowledge to encounter important questions together and explore them and delve into them more deeply. She believed that would help us know better how to be faithful and strong in our lives. And so I felt welcome there. And I became more and more active. I was a teenager, but I started volunteering on committees, for goodness sake, and I liked it. I liked working with other people of all ages to do important stuff. And maybe most importantly of all, as an adolescent who was beginning to discover that it was very likely that he was gay, being in that congregation told me again and again that there was something deeply worthwhile within me. I experienced that they recognized my gifts and my worth, and that was essential in feeling okay about myself. And so I continued to be a part of that community. And we moved into a new building, and I volunteered along with everyone else to get the space ready. And so I was in the sanctuary vacuuming this brand new carpet, and Mrs. Gartside, my Sunday school teacher, was a few feet away wiping down all of the brand new seats. And as I looked up, I noticed that she had stopped, and she was looking at me with a very quizzical expression. I assumed I was doing something wrong, so I turned off the vacuum cleaner and I said, What am I doing wrong? And she stopped for yet a minute more, and then she said very quietly, but with this very interesting look on her face, Doug, have you ever thought about being a minister? Well, the first thing that I thought was, wow, I must really be doing this vacuuming thing very well. And then secondly, I thought, no, that is the last thing in the world, I've thought as an 8th grader, being a minister. But never underestimate the power of a provocative question, especially when it is offered by someone that you trust and respect deeply and feels the same for you. In that moment when she asked me that question, it was as if this doorway opened in my mind and heart. And because I was in the right place and at the right time, I stepped through that door to explore what was on the other side. Probably I started that journey long before, when my mom escorted me to the truck route and beyond. But in that moment, I stepped into exploring a question that led me to a deeper sense of calling in my life. And all these years later, here I am. Now, it's important in and of itself that you know a little bit about what brings me to this work and how it shaped who I am and how I will work with you. But just as importantly is how you answer the question of what deep callings are alive in you now and maybe have been for a very long time. William Stafford, in his poem, The Way It Is, writes this: "There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread." Parker Palmer reflected on Stafford's poem in this way: "Holding on," he writes, "doesn't make life any easier, but it can help us from getting lost in the dark woods that swallow us up every now and then. Knowing that we can find our way home with that thread in hand, we're more likely to explore the darkness and learn what it has to teach us." So, again, while it matters what calls me to my work, it matters as much what threads of purpose are alive in your life now and call you to this place and into this time. As has been frequently observed, there's also a far deeper importance to that thread. Human experience teaches us again and again that we gain a sense of empowerment and direction and hope by discovering and reconnecting with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. And one of the most famous examples of that is Viktor Frankl's work, especially in his Man's Search for Meaning, which began with his own experience in the concentration camps in the Second World War. Frankl observed that the inmates with him were most likely to survive when they felt they had some greater goal or purpose in mind. Frankl himself spent a lot of his time in the camp trying to reconstruct a manuscript that had been lost on his journey, and he felt was his life's work. But he noticed again and again that someone hoped to see their loved one, and it gave them a sense of the ability to hold on and move forward. And other people had some major goal or task in their life that they wished to complete when they were free. There are so many ways that we each find, live into, embody hope. But one of the most powerful and time-tested ways is returning to that thread of purpose in our lives. And while there are many ways of understanding it, I believe that in some way that thread points to some transcendent call in our life. It is similar to the way that Frederick Buechner, a theologian, writes about it. He believes that it is most meaningfully realized when it is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger. One of the most significant purposes of this congregation, any congregation, is to help you identify and clarify and strengthen and then live into the few worthy things that are worthy of your time, your attention, your resources, that ask you to invest something deeply in your life again and again. When you connect with that truth, when you hold on to it, you receive incredible power. This place is meant to help remind you of that again and again. And the thing to remember about it is that it isn't something that you go outside and find that is separate from who you are. That thread is something that is innately and deeply a part of you from childhood. It isn't discovering something out there. It is connecting with the truth that you already hold within you and letting that truth speak and live boldly. So it is essential as we move into this time of exploring what this congregation will do in its future that you stay connected to that truth, that truth helps guide you in what is important about this place. But as I said last week, and will probably say so often that you will be sick of it, there's more than just your truth. There is the world's deep hunger always calling to you. The thing is, maybe you, as you sit here, don't feel quite so certain what that deep thread is. Or maybe you feel like you have lost your grasp of it. Maybe there are fears that are so deeply held within you, or your life is so busy that you feel alienated from some important part of you. I invite you to explore some questions with me for a moment and see if it helps reconnect you with that deeper truth. So think back in your life on some of the moments where you felt you were doing something that was most meaningful. Maybe think of the 2 or 3 most powerful moments in your life where you felt you were really in touch with something powerful. How would you describe or picture those moments that helps connect you with that thread? Or for that matter, maybe in whatever job or task you're doing, you find yourself again and again attracted to similar things within whatever job you have. Maybe you're the person who always pays attention to the feelings and the life of your coworkers. Maybe you're the person who always gets the big picture when everyone else seems to be lost in the weeds. Maybe you're the person who understands how to align those numbers perfectly on a spreadsheet, and you understand how life-saving that can be in the right circumstance. Whatever it is, reconnect with the essence of what that is about, and it is almost certainly pointing you towards that thread of purpose. But then once you have reclaimed that lost thread and have it firmly in hand, what is it inviting you to encounter? What murky places is it asking you to move into? What fears in your life, while holding that thread, could you face and in some way see new truths and teachings? How is that present to you now? And number 3, all of us at times find ourselves by the busyness of life being separated from that sense of purpose. How could you do a better job of holding on even in the midst of those very distracting moments? Or if you get separated, how could you do a better job of knowing how to reconnect with that deeper sense of calling and purpose in your life? In the coming weeks, we will explore powerful things together. As a calling is to an individual, so too a community together in conversation discovers that deeper sense of calling. It always is by returning to the essence of what the congregation is about and listening to that larger voice and what it is asking of us now. I said it last week by quoting the words of Margaret Wheatley, but I return to it again and again with you now. The idea that there is nothing more powerful than when a community discovers what it really cares about. It is always like this. Real change only begins with the simple act of people engaging in conversation about what they really, really care about. How often do you actually have the opportunity to have those conversations here? We will work in the coming months to create that space for you. You are asked to bring your deepest self and to listen deeply and openly to the true selves around you and see what truths you discover. But I hope you will leave with the other deeper truth, that just as first in my own life I discovered even though in those initial times in the Baptist church and in the Disciples of Christ church, the importance of discovery and curiosity for me, and how collaboration is essential to me, and seeking and working together on something important. Holding on to those truths has helped me when I have felt most astray. When I completed my 13-year ministry in Bellingham, Washington, I felt very adrift. And it was by returning to those few worthy things that I was able to find my path again and to realize that I could do that essential work with congregations who were in the midst of big change. What is your thread of purpose? Hold on to it. That thread will stitch together the unraveling of your life when you find yourself coming to pieces. In the coming months, may your intimate vision and the communal call around you help us attend to the few worthy things, and that will make all the difference. So may it be true. Amen, and blessed be. Every week, we have many opportunities to offer service to the greater good. We continue that tradition here as we receive our morning offering. For the second week in a row, part of our offering will go to One City Schools as they do their essential work in the community. There's more about that work and its mission in your order of service. As we receive the offering, may a spirit of generosity and abundance be alive in this place. It is through that work that we are able to change the world. The offering may be received now in love. It truly takes a village for us to do the important work that we do together. And so we want to say some thank yous for that important ministry that is shared today. We thank our lay ministers, John McGevna and Ann Smiley. Our greeters today are Pamela McMullen and Lori Windland. Our ushers are Mark Hill, Marianne Newman, Roz Woodward, and Judy Troya. Our coffee has been made very essential by Jeannie Hills and Christy Minahan. And Dorit Bergen is our welcome and info table person. There are a few opportunities that we want to let you know about. We invite you to stop by the Journey Circles information table in the Commons after the service. Journey Circles are our new small covenant groups that will focus on the congregational monthly themes that we explore in worship and other places. They are an integral part of the theme-based ministry that is taking a larger part in our congregation. Our Journey Circles will give you a chance to offer the gift of listening to one another and attentiveness to another person's thoughts and ideas, as well as attention to your own. Guided by the monthly themes and connection to an engagement with others from our faith community, we will do important work in these circles. Journey Circles are a great way for you to connect with each other and with the greater whole in this congregation. So we invite you to stop by and find out more in the Commons, and if it sounds like a good fit, to sign up and give it a try. The Friday noon musicals will begin again the first Friday in October, October 5th. The Friday noon musicals are FUS's Distinguished Artist Recital Series, and they run on Fridays from October through May. The 4 October programs include a soprano duo, classical guitar, flute, and a program of classical music from Asia. The gathering begins around noon and the program at 12:15. They're always free. And our musicians today, David Bevel and Satoko Hayemi, you'll have an opportunity to hear more music this Friday here. They will be offering a recital at 7 p.m. So I hope that you will check out more of the beautiful music, and thank you so much for sharing it today. We also join together each week as a community who has joys and sorrows, and we have them written in our hearts, but we have an opportunity to make those more public together. In this place where we love and are loved, we give and receive and return. We come together to find strength and common purpose, turning our minds and hearts towards one another, seeking from each other a circle of concern, of love and support. This week, we remember Nanaji, whose ashes were strewn in the Ganges River in Delhi this Thursday. The beloved grandfather of my son's wife, this from Ann Smiley, Madhvi. He will be missed on 2 continents. He lived a full life after leading his family on their flight into India in 1947. Our thoughts are also with Marge Engelman as she grieves the loss of her husband Ken, who passed away on September 5th. We hold Vivian Littlefield Hoken in our hearts. Her husband Lowell Hoken died on September 6th. And our love and prayers are with Joyce Carey, whose husband Phil passed away on Friday morning, a gentle and loving soul who spread kindness everywhere he went. He will be deeply missed. May we remember that we are part of the web of life and that we share fully with all of humanity. We remember those who have not yet spoken or written their cares and concerns, but are present here or in our larger life. May we be grateful for the miracle of life that we share and the hope that it gives and the power to care, remember, and to act with love. May that spirit be carried forth as we sing our closing hymn, rising in all the ways that we do, and joining our voices together in number 108, My Life Flows On, and in this song. Did you announce this or say? You did. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. And now, as you go forth from this place, may that thread of purpose hold you as deeply as you hold it. And in those moments when you let go, and we all will, may the love of community, of family and friends hold you in good stead. We extinguish this light, but not the light of deeper wisdom, not the fire of our commitment to change and justice, not the warmth of community. These will remain in your life until you gather in this place again. Before we move forward into our day, let's take just a moment together and receive the gift of music as we sit for our postlude.